Hey there friends, it's Vanessa. Welcome back to my channel. Today I thought I'd do something a little bit different, but also helpful for me and you, is to answer a bunch of questions that I often get asked. I compiled a bunch of questions onto a Google Doc on my computer, so we're just gonna roll on through them and you can have all your answers and know all the things. So let's get into it. All right, here we are. So the first question is, how do you take such great self-portraits of yourself? Well, first, thank you. But that has taken a lot of practice. I started doing self-portraits literally with a timer. I'd set my camera up and I would try to focus it on, I didn't do autofocus because if I did a timer, it would focus to the background, it wouldn't focus on me. So I would put something, I usually brought a second tripod so I could try to focus on it, and then I would mount my camera on a different tripod, set a timer, run over, move the extra tripod so it's in focus, and then I'd go to it. And once I had that focus locked in, I then wouldn't use the tripod again unless I went to a different location. That's how I started. That was a rough time. Then I got my remote shutter button, which was probably the best investment of my life, because then it made things so much easier that I could just hold it and it'll focus automatically. And once I got that focus, I ended up turning it to manual so then it wouldn't autofocus every time I press the button. Because if I'm not moving from a different focal point, it doesn't really matter because it's gonna be the same focus every time. So it's definitely created a craft. I had to really figure out what I wanted in the frame for myself. It honestly takes so much trial and error, and it has taken me years, believe me, years. I started this back in college, taking self-portraits of myself, and now I graduated college in fall of 2015. Yes, I'm dating myself. So it's been 5 years of me doing this. So, and I was taking selfies by that point. So I had an understanding of where things are in the frame and what I wanted in the frame and how I wanted it to work. So just having that understanding first really helps, and then just trial and error. Just keep trying. Don't get frustrated with yourself. I should be telling that to myself because I do. But it's something that is gonna take time and it's going to be difficult, but you just got to be patient with yourself and give yourself enough time to do it. Because if you don't have, on this camera, I have a screen that flips up that I can see myself. And before, when I used to do YouTube videos, I didn't have this. So this is definitely a blessing. If you have, because there are some DSLR cameras, the newer ones now, that come with an app that you can see it on your phone to see where you are, and if that's easier to focus. And also just trying out with your phone, because you have that selfie mode, so then you can see where things are. How is it going to crop? It's a lot easier to see and understand. So hopefully that answers your question. So next question is, how do I make my photos look better? I literally get this question all the time, and I want to help, but it doesn't give me enough context. A way to create great photos is to have a nice depth of field. So whatever is in the foreground that you're focusing on is in clear focus, and then have a more hazy background, a more out of focus background. So then it creates a great depth of field. That's what I look for to when I create my photos. Granted, my iPhone photos don't always do that because I don't have the newer iPhones that have that feature, but even so, that feature can not look the greatest sometimes. It can almost look forced, that you just went into Photoshop and cut yourself out and put a hazy background or unfocused background, because it's almost too much sometimes just from how the depth of field is. But sometimes it can work. But I would just recommend just try to make everything in your photo in focus that you want in focus. Don't do any weird cropping. If you're taking a photo, like if you're taking a photo in Walt Disney World, do not walk and take a picture. Stop and take your picture, or else it's going to be all blurry and weird. And just have an intention when you're taking pictures, because a lot of the time when you don't have an intention, you really don't know what you're doing, and then you get a photo that you're like, eh. Have an intention when you're taking photos. Don't just take photos to take photos. Which, I mean, sure, you can do that, but if your goal is to have some quality photos to post, then you're gonna want to actually put in a little bit more effort than maybe you thought. Just a thought. And on that same note, next question is, how do I get my photos crisper? Okay, so that's kind of what I was saying. So making sure your focus is on your subject, on whatever you're taking your photo of, make sure that's in focus. And that's the same thing for a DSLR. Make sure your subject is in focus. Sometimes when I'm unsure if it's going to be in focus, I put it on live mode, so then I can zoom in and fine tune that focus and then zoom out. But typically, if you have it on autofocus, it's going to do its job. So that's what helps. Next question, why are my photos grainy? Okay, your photos are grainy. Typically, this can come from an iPhone photo. They usually don't come from a DSLR unless you have your camera on a high ISO, which can create this grainy effect sometimes. But maybe that's a stylistic choice, but you also could be battling with ISO if you're in a really dark setting. And that happens when you jack up the ISO, but it brings in more light for those low light photos if you want to have like a higher shutter speed or whatever. That goes into more technicality. But typically I get this question regarding iPhone photos. And I see this all the time on Instagram. I see a lot of influencers or people who want to be influencers and even businesses post really, really grainy photos, and it's not professional and it doesn't look good. So if you have a photo, let's say you took a picture, let's say you're walking down Main Street, you're halfway down Main Street in Walt Disney World, and you take a picture of the castle. I am going to talk about Disney all the time, and I'm sorry, not really, but it's a part of my job. I take pictures of Disney influencers, so that's a part of it. So this is my description. Because a lot of people get that shot down Main Street, so you have some of the shops of Main Street, you have the hub, you have the castle. It could be a beautiful picture, but then when you get onto Instagram, you zoom into the castle. Or if you're taking this picture, you're zooming into the castle. Don't do that. Please don't do that. Because your phone cannot carry the amount of information a DSLR can. A DSLR camera, professional grade camera, is designed to take a ton of information. That's why it has a lens. That's why it's as like bulky and big as it is, as even though cameras have scaled down over time, but still they're meant to take a lot of information. And that's why a lot of photographers shoot in RAW, so they have that extra information so they can crop in, change things without it looking grainy and gross. Your phone does not have that capability. It is very flat. It is very small and compact because it's meant to be a portable device. It's not meant to take high-level photos. So if you're taking pictures on your phone, my best advice for you is to move those steps forward to get a better image. Or just don't zoom in. If you can't get the shot that you want because you can't get any farther, then don't zoom in. Because the minute you zoom in more, it's gonna be grainy and it's gonna be gross. Just speaking from experience, speaking from my professional photography background, just don't do it. I don't, yes, I bring my camera into the parks, but I take photos on my phone all the time and I post them. But you don't see me zooming in. I never zoom in, ever. If I want to get closer, I take the steps forward to get closer, because that is gonna be better for you and more beneficial to the photo and a better photo than zooming in. because the worst thing you can do is zoom in and it just looks gross. Okay, moving on. All right, next question. How do I gain more followers? I'm so glad you asked. If you don't already know, I'm working on a membership site specifically designed for social media influencers. You don't need to be an influencer for Disney or do Disney content. It's literally any social media influencer. If you're on social media and you have an influence in your following, please join my program. And in this program, I break down everything regarding your brand and figuring that out, as well as techniques that can help fine-tune your brand, as well as we go through knowing your brand inside and out, like your aesthetic, your values, everything like that. Crafting a blueprint of where you should be posting, where you want to grow in the future, and when, and what type of content are you posting? What is your audience like? And then also your goals to move forward and work with brands. So I help you gain those followers, and those followers that actually want to talk to you and want to communicate and interact with your posts and you. So I'll have the link in the description for that, but this is something that I'm working on. I am currently in my beta stage, so I won't be opening the doors for a little bit, but for people who are watching this video later, I'll leave the link below where you can check it out. So if it's not there already, it will be in the future. So make sure you follow me at Vanessa Jordan Photo so you can hear all about that and you know when it goes live to the public. So, but a brief little how to gain followers. Actually engage with people. Go onto those hashtags and actually find people to engage with, like comment on people's stuff, as well as the different accounts you follow. Find people that are active on their posts and go like their posts and comment on their posts. It's all about a community and interacting. You can't just be like, I want more followers. That's not going to do anything. You're just going to seem fake. And all these businesses that are promising you followers, they're just going to be fake, and they're not going to bring you success. They're just going to bring up your number on your account, and that's not okay. That's cheating. And it's not going to give you the audience you want. So the best advice I can give is to start engaging with people who are in a similar niche or in an audience that you want to attract, and just start commenting and liking their stuff. Just start communicating with them. Create a relationship. Give them a reason to follow you. And start creating good content, good quality content, because the more you do and the more you're consistent, the more people will be attracted to you. So if you interact with people, engage with people, find people in your niche or in your audience that you want to attract, start communicating with them, being consistent and creating good quality content, you're going to gain more followers. Plain and simple. But if you want a more in-depth conversation and training, I will have that link below when it is available. Okay, so my next question is, what is a brand? Oh, we talk about this too. A brand is a signifier for a business, and it's more than your logo, it's more than your typeface, and it's more than your colors. It's your values, it's your audience, it's how you communicate with them, it's what you sell, it's what you do and how you do it. It's encompassing all those things, and it's a lot more than you probably think it is, but it is basically the base, the grounding of your business or your brand, or your personal brand. If you're an influencer, it's a personal brand, but it's the base of everything regarding your business. That is it. That is your brand. That is what you stand on, and you grow from there. So if you don't know what you're standing on, everything you're building is going to be so disoriented and miscommunicated that it's not going to look good or professional. It's going to look like you don't even know what you're doing. So a brand is definitely something That is your base. Again, if you want to learn more about that, the link will be below when it's available. And lastly, how do I design a logo? I am a graphic designer. That's what I got my degree in. I have been a graphic designer for 5+ years in various industries of retail and many other things. So I've designed a good amount of logos and things during my time. I can go many different ways with this, but a good way is to just start sketching things out. Like research different logos that you like, and just start pulling ideas for them and just sketch things out, because a logo can literally be anything, and as long as you make it, I always try to put it in the 1x1 square, because that's like most profile pictures, the sections on websites of where you drop your logo. I usually try to design within that first and then kind of go from there. So yeah, just play around with things that you already like and you'll definitely find something. All right, so those are all our questions. I hope I answered them well, but if you have any more questions, please leave them below. I'd love to answer more of them and help you out even more. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you head to the link in the description to check out our Patreon, which supports this channel and the podcast. If you don't know about the podcast, you'll see it a couple of videos back. It's a podcast where I interview entrepreneurs of all different walks of life and in all different business areas of business, and we just talk about conversations that aren't talked about in the entrepreneurial space. It's really great. I love it. We're starting to get ready to film or record our second season already, which is crazy that we're already at this point where this little baby started. It's like my favorite thing. Make sure you follow me at Vanessa Jordan Photo on Instagram. That's where I live. I do go on Facebook occasionally and Twitter sometimes, but that's mostly where you can find me. You can also find me at vanessajordanphotograph.com, where you can see all of my services and everything I offer, education, all sorts of things. I have a blog. I talk on there sometimes, but there's a lot of good resources and information on there as well. So make sure you give this video a like if you like it, and subscribe if you want to see more videos on this channel that relate to Disney, photography, branding, and other fun things. And until next time, bye guys!